Yo, what's up, people? Hope you guys are having a fantastic day so far. It's someone that's no one here, and today we're gonna review the substance Sceletium Tortuosum, or commonly known as Kanna, requested by Hamish McKay. Now, I took the liberty of doing trials with this substance to see what exactly it's about. So, what is it? Kanna, to put simply, is a naturally growing antidepressant. It's native to South Africa and has been used by tribes as medicine, the main active ingredient being mesenbrenone, and that's responsible for the SSRI effects. So basically, you can kind of say it's a plant version of Zoloft, just nowhere near as strong or nowhere near as physically taxing or risky. And the only danger that I can really find is when you combine Kanna with SSRI or an MAOI. And there is a chance to overdose, but when overdose occurs, what's normally going to happen is one would be accompanied by a headache and some nausea, and there's possible increase in heart rate or blood pressure, as well as anxiety. So yeah, don't go over the recommended dosage with this shit. So what does it do? Kinda lifts your mood. It can be relaxing. It can be euphoric. It can be a motivation enhancer. It can decrease stress, anxiety, depression. The list goes on quite some, but I wouldn't hold the expectation to experience every one of the effects, as from what I can find, it does depend on the individual. So let's get into my experience. Now, there's many different routes in how you can take Kanna. For this review, we'll be covering 3 of these routes, and we can do a follow-up if desired on the other routes of administration. So I tried drinking the tea, smoking it, as well as snorting it. Now, when I performed these trials, I was looking for a set of attributes for why someone may take this substance. This may include my mood, my energy, feelings of sociability, a food test, a work test, a creativity test, a physical test, a walking test, a music test, and an entertainment test. Basically, we're going to be discussing how the substance affects these attributes for better or for the worse. Now, starting with the tea. I went up to a gram with the tea, and around this dosage, I did experience some nausea. The tea came out to be kind of like this transparent yellow piss color and tasted reminiscent of the smoke, which was a woody taste, but nowhere near as strong. I would say there's a pinch of bitterness within the tea, which actually makes it pretty enjoyable to drink, if you enjoy tea, that is. And the effects took about an hour to hit, nowhere near as strong as smoking, making it less recreational and more supplemental. It lasts about 4 to 5 hours, tapering typically around the 3-hour mark. And with all that said, let's get into the effects, or what I was testing for. So starting with the mood, I'm more happy. I wouldn't say beaming with a smile, but very content and accepting where I am in my life and wanting to do something where I can improve myself. Physically, I feel sedated, like some hits of CBD relaxed. Kind of like resting your body in bed, definitely noticeable pain relieving effects. I've had some soreness from working out, and it's definitely more manageable. Energy. My energy doesn't really feel that effective. Physically, I'm down, but mentally, I feel like doing stuff, similar to CBD. Sociability. I didn't notice any pull towards being more sociable like I would on a stimulant or an entheogen. For me, this area went unaffected. Food test. At a gram, there is suspecting nausea, but not really bothersome. So far, food tastes normal, but kind of like a bit farther away from the complete taste. There is little motivation to eat. The only reason I decided to eat is because I needed to eat, like I needed a meal in me type shit for the day. But definitely showing signs of appetite reduction. But with all that said, I was able to eat a meal without much complication, so at least we can eat. This substance can definitely be used as a weight loss aid. Work test. Now for the work test, this will vary among different people. When I say work test, I'm basically talking about what you're doing productive. What are you focusing on? Is it maybe it can be a project for work or school, or maybe you're just going into work, you have a part-time job or something like that, and you need to talk to people, or you need to think, and can you focus on what needs to be said, what needs to be done, without getting too distracted. That's basically what we're testing for the work test. And For this is what I seem to get most out of this substance. I'm able to work quite easily on videos, schoolwork, whatever. Basically, we can also call this the focus test. Easily able to focus in on anything that I wanted to be productive in, and it just kind of feels like natural while on it. The creativity test, this might vary significantly between individuals, but for my art, I typically enjoy writing, and you could say making videos, but I would mainly say my writing, and it seems to just kind of flow out naturally. It lines up with the work part pretty well, and I was even motivated to make a new outro for the channel while I was on the substance. Physical activity test. So I tried some normal stuff, push-ups, pull-ups, squats, sit-ups, just normal workout shit. And the degree of difficulty appears to be the same. There really doesn't seem to be any big negatives, no big positives, but the only thing that might be good that I found is that it can put you in a better mood and could provide you motivation to work out. With the music test, I definitely enjoy music on the substance. I decided to go with my taste in music, and it definitely fits well. There's some slight euphoria with the tea while listening to music, though it seems to be achieved only via headphones, even more so with closed eyes, and seems to work well across genres as well. For the walking test, what is the walking test? Basically, if you don't know me, I like to go on walks. Like, if you ever heard people on acid or anything, like, let's go on a walk, for a little adventure or whatever. I just like doing that even, like, whenever, it's just part of my routine. It's something, like, I enjoy doing. And it also can be seen as, like, how likely are you to, get out the house and shit like that. So, with the walking test, I definitely enjoy my walk more so than I would sober, so that's a plus. And if it weren't cold as shit out, and because it's winter and shit, I probably would have went longer. But I felt as if the contact I was having with the world, it was gray and shit outside. I was still really content with everything. I was still happy about it. Like, that's one of the another big pro for this. It alleviates you from the winter depression, depending on where you live and that shit, of course, though. But this is definitely a pro if you just want to get outside, go for a walk or some shit. Maybe go on a bike ride, whatever, shit like that. Next, entertainment test. Definitely I can sit back, relax, watch some shows, a movie, depending on what you're feeling. And it's not a bad time at all. I also played some video games, some first-person shooters, and I would say pretty much the same in my opinion, though I did notice somewhat an increase in confidence in my gaming skills. But now let's move on to smoking. So typically if I was smoking Kanna, I would prefer a dosage from anywhere from 150 milligrams all the way up to 400 milligrams, though 400 is kind of pushing it on a more higher dose. On average, I would say I would dose 250 milligrams, as that seems to be a sweet spot for me. And there's just too much more appetite reduction once you get into the higher doses, which makes it just not desirable for me. But the smoking has this kind of woody, earthy taste to it, and it's easy on the throat, the lungs, and I typically feel the effects within a minute or so of smoking it, and it's both effective recreationally and is sort of a supplement, if you want to call it that. But because of this, I would say this is my preferred method of ingestion. So starting with my mood, I had feelings of contentment, a calm, relaxed feeling. This would definitely put you in a better mood if you were feeling down, and smoking definitely got rid of any winter depression I had, but definitely no feelings of stress, anxiety, or any of the similar. My energy, I was physically relaxed, similar to the tea and how my mind is kind of still active, but my body was much more laid back. The pain relieving effects appear to be similar. The sociability, again, this area appears to be unaffected for me. Rather, there's no pull towards it. I don't feel it promoting sociability, but there may be a level of increased confidence that may make it easier to talk, though I have yet to be unaware of it. For the food test, again, it isn't very comforting to eat. You can eat, but afterwards your stomach is just kind of I don't know, I just feel like it's kind of a little bothersome, and I find it weed necessary to combat this. Sadly, this is my least favorite aspect of the substance. For the work test, as with the tea, I find that this is the best quality of the substance because, I'm able to just effortlessly jump into work, videos, school, you name it. Creativity test, again, writing seems to flow out naturally without much effort. Physical activity test did a lot of different things. Smoking it is more convenient for me, so I did stretching, working out, and felt pretty good. Again, I'd say it's probably more motivation. Maybe the pain relieving effects may help with this as well. So I say, try it out. I'd say working out, though, is solid. For the music test, again, music's great. Better with headphones on, of course. Euphoria, definitely more pronounced compared to the T. And I don't say expect the Euphoria to have a heavy prominence. It's kind of like this moderate euphoric mood, I would say. But I find myself easily getting lost into the music. For the walking test, there was more euphoria than there was with the T. Again, it feels like you're just kind of doing something completely natural without effort, and easily I can just jump in, go into the walk, and find enjoyment in it. And this would work out well if you're trying to go out. Entertainment test, watching things, are entertaining and enjoyable. I mainly played Hearthstone while smoking it, and that has to do with like decision making, strategy, and whatnot. And I would say, I held up as well as I would normally, and it was enjoyable. So next, we're gonna get into insulfiation. Okay, so I know you guys may not be happy with this, but especially after the tea and smoking breakdown. But I only snorted this one time, and it was a 25 milligram, and that's kind of a guess at that. So I intended on snorting it and writing down everything, doing the trial, but let me just tell you what went down. So, if you remember, I got the shredded Kanna. So, right away, that should be a bad sign. Don't fucking snort some shredded Kanna. But at the bottom of the bag, there was kind of like a bunch of powder, like that seemed like it collected up. And the plan was to do that, but when I went in for that, it wasn't exactly the type of powder you want to snort. It needs to be finely grounded powder. Mine, half-ass. But I said, fuck it, let's give it a go anyway. Let's see if, I can get something going for this trial. And I prepared a 100 milligram line. And we only did a quarter of that shit because god damn is that shit fucking uncomfortable. Right away, it just felt like this is not some shit you should be snorting. Like, maybe it was the texture, because it was completely new to me too. Like this type of texture, earthy texture, I guess. But it also felt like if I was going to continue to do this, my whole fucking entire nostril was going to get clogged up because of it, which would definitely not be worth it considering the effects would have only been an hour, if that. But even with the 25 milligrams, it was pretty bad. My nose, instantly started getting mucousy and like the sniffles emerged. Then a sneezing fit emerged. And I remember like some of it got stuck in my nose. I had to scrape it out. Then like the rest of it went in. And that didn't feel too bad. But my nose just kind of felt like fucked. And it just made me feel like I was fucked. And I did get some effect from it. Though I don't think it would be anywhere a normal dose would be. I basically felt inebriated. How? I felt like a little bit of dissociation and possible euphoria if I wasn't having a sneezing fit for like the next few hours because of this. But to put it short, the snorting trial was pretty much a bust, but I figured, let's just drop this little attempt in here. So, but we can make a follow-up on the snorting and a follow-up on this review if you want me to explore the different routes of administration. But my recommendation, if you're looking for a recreational substance, I would say this is a maybe. It would work better as a booster for something like nitrous or weed does. Smoke it, and if you have a fine ground powder, maybe snort it. But keep in mind, with snorting it, it isn't even really recommended in the first place due to the discomfort, possible damage to your nostrils, clogging them. Just a lot of shitty side effects are reported, but it depends. Some people are able to do it, so I'm not really sure. Fine ground powder, just remember that fucking shit. But that's if you're trying to go recreationally. What I would really recommend this substance for is productivity, depression, not chronic depression, like winter depression more specifically, possible anxiety, possible as a weight loss aid, as a relaxant for stress, for motivation, possibly for sociability, possibly for work and for the arts. And that's quite the list. Makes me question, is Kanna a wonder drug? Because it has a really good profile. Most likely by its profile, it probably is. But I would recommend going the tea route if you want to avoid recreation almost entirely. Also, if you can't just openly smoke it, because smoking it will last, about an hour to 2 hours, I find. And my preferable route is smoking, though, maybe once a day or throughout the day, here and there, or whenever needed. The thing about Kanna is there haven't really been any long-term adverse effects found from it yet. Again, my question, is this a wonder drug? Maybe. But if you can see Kanna helping you with any of the listed previously, I'd say, give it a go, see how it works for you. Overall, Kanna turned out to be much better than what I expected. When I went in, my expectations weren't very high, especially since I had a few friends and shit claim it does little to nothing, but from my experience, I can say it does a hell of a lot and could possibly help out a big chunk of people. I think the medical field probably should look at this, see if they can implement it somehow, because it does seem, just the safety profile even, and it's just something very interesting that exists. But I will most likely continue to use Kanna here and there when I feel I need it. But with all that said, I'm going to have to give Kanna a 9 out of 10. Not a 10 out of 10 because I just don't like the appetite reducing effects. Yeah, mainly. So, yeah, there is the Kanna review. Like I said, we can do a follow-up because there's also a chewing, sublingual, and we can do a complete snorting. So, there might be another one. There's also tinctures and fucking extracts and shit like that. So, we could do a follow-up on a Kanna review if you guys want to see another review if you enjoyed this. But if you did enjoy this, like it,